welcome to the Mics of the Roundtable presented by Cinescape Media, where we're going to set the table with topics from all areas today. And this show is brought to you by Cinescape Media Network. Be sure to visit cinescape.media for a complete listing of all the great podcasts and content we have available. Well, gentlemen, we are back once again. So let me start by welcoming the dais here. In the left corner is Dex Burgess from Suburban Paranormal. Dex, thank you for joining us today.
Always.
And then down in the lower right square, we have from Mixtape Radio, we got Mixtape Mike. How are you, sir?
Woo! Good.
That's how Mike attracts his mate. Oh, like a hard bark or something.
Got that war horn out.
And the man with the plan, the styling, profiling, coke dealing and wheeling. In the lower left square, you got Sean Harrigan from the Eagle Test. Welcome, Sean.
What's going on, Rowdy? Play your card right. Live to talk about it.
Sean looks like he takes a bath of Monster Energy drink.
Double or nothing.
Nothing or double, Jack. Nothing or double.
New nickname is Kyle.
Well, welcome back, gentlemen. It's been another week. Another week down in quarantine. I don't even know which week we're in anymore at this point. Just to recap, good news is we'll be downgrading to yellow very soon in Pennsylvania. So we're excited to be getting back to resuming our lives a little bit more freely.
Okay.
Mike, I know you are the only one not in the old glory hole state of Pennsylvania here. So what's going on in the despot that is Ohio?
Not a whole lot. They are slowly working on reopening stuff. They've got really strict guidelines in place. I think this is the last week for where the last of the openings are going to be happening. Pretty much any place that isn't like a music venue or a comedy club is going to be opening. So, fuck me, right? But
why do you like music?
the hair salons are open, the restaurants are pretty much all open, the bars are opening. Childcare, I think they're still kind of on the fence about. But
just get rid of them.
Yeah,
Get
screw it.
rid of them all.
Watch your own damn kids. Other than that, Sean's been doing it. Sean's been watching his kids. It's fine.
Yeah, I've been a stay-at-home dad the last 2 months.
But like my company's not budging at all as far as letting people come back to work. Everyone's still working from home as far as the TV station goes. So it's kind of a mixed bag right now out here in Ohio.
Mixed nuts in Ohio. Crazy stuff. Have you thought about maybe like doing in a sense, you're a stand-up comedian outside of your regular job. Have you thought about starting some kind of underground comedy club where much akin to the Prohibition era of alcohol?
We've been trying to work our way around it. We've been doing stuff on Discord, so at least that everybody has like a place to go.
I'm not talking about on the internet, Mike. We went over the internet stuff. I'm talking about like you and some comedians in like a dingy cellar somewhere, and
a comedy.
You're having to
you could go into the basement lounge.
You need to run the new Comedy Central out of the basement lounge,
right?
Which I was privileged to guest on recently.
You were.
By the by.
The listeners actually enjoyed having you on. They want to have you back sometime soon. So
they're a bunch of liars.
That's actually not a lie. They were like, "Hey, we liked him. Have him back." And I'm like, "Oh, they don't."
Look, any day, anytime, I'll be there.
I appreciate
Save me a seat in the lounge.
Yeah, always. You got a nice corner booth reserved in the back by where the waiters come in and out with the dishes. So
Perfect.
Hey, Bill, look, it's another thing he did early.
It's to answer your question, though, Bill. No, there's nothing going on.
Well, gentlemen, the last several weeks we've had some heavy hitting topics. We've gone through several big news things that were relative to what's been going on. So certainly, of course, tonight I would like to indulge upon getting back to some things that we know very familiarly. No, Sean?
What's a movie?
Movies are things that were being made up until about March 2020. So I know it's hard to understand what a movie is right now going
Yeah,
forward.
I heard Bad Boys 3 is the front runner for the Oscar this year for Best Picture.
Well, and that's the thing I want to talk about tonight. So considering the fact that there's really no way to go forward right now, I want us to jump into our DeLoreans or whatever mode of transportation we have to go into the past today. So today's theme is movies. And I'm going to hit you with some topics throughout the course of our conversation. But, none comes more critical than discussing sequels. So to start off with, I'd like to get your feedback on a sequel that was better than the original.
Ooh.
So this can go many ways for people, and I don't think that there's any one right answer, but Sean, you just basically ousted yourself, so you are going to go first, my sir.
Shit. All right. Sequels that are better than the original. Obviously, to preface this whole topic of conversation, when we're talking about movies or TV or any kind of art, obviously all art is subjective. I think I don't think anybody can. You can disagree with it if you want, but you'd be wrong. That there's no subjectivity in that. You're wrong. Everybody's going to have their own opinion on the way that a film delivered or didn't, and then whether a sequel is better or not. Now, I want to kick off a couple that I have listed on my Microsoft Word document here that I prepared. I put these couple in parentheses specifically because I can't say whether they're actually better or not. They're any day of the week, these could flip flop. So I'll give out my first couple, on the fence ones. We can go around and give some more, and then I'll come back to mine. I have Wayne's World 2, Ghostbusters 2, Terminator 2, and Hot Shots Part 2 on the fence. One day they're better than the original, one day they're not. Discuss.
I think the one that's probably the most on the fence for me is Hot Shots Part 2.
It's so good.
It's so good, but also the original Hot Shots is
so good.
my argument there is like Hot Shots Part 2. I will say like that is a lesser lesser niche film. It's that slapstick comedy, and it's very if I'm ranking that, like it's certainly not going to rank anywhere close to where Ghostbusters 2 or Wayne's World 2 is. And I mean that's honestly a movie that's in its own realm, and comparing like Airplane to that really. And for me, Hot Shots Part 2 is the better of those movies. However, it's when you go to Walmart and in the $5 bin, you get the first one and the second one on the same DVD. That says enough right there about those movies.
It's a good way to put it. Yeah,
it's definitely the better of the two, but like in no way am I going to say that's up there with like Ghostbusters. But it's in its own category, so it would definitely dominate some of the movies that it's going to go up against.
But I mean, when you talk about a Wayne's World 2, I mean, which one is actually better? I mean, they're both so equally great and hysterical, and
they
timeless.
are, because they are like completely two different styles almost in the way that they went after the comedy. I felt like each had the main elements of what made the whole Wayne's World sketch, what it is. But I feel like they're both great in their own respect, because as much as they're it's a sequel and a marriage, but they feel very distinct in their own way. So, but I feel like 2 has smarter humor in it.
Okay. Now, you notice all the movies that I listed on this little list, I mean, with the exception of Terminator 2, are all comedies. Now, in my opinion, comedy films are probably the toughest movie genre to do a sequel on that's going to be remotely in the ballpark of what the original did. Trying to redo the same skits and jokes over and over again. So, I mean, when you talk about Wayne's World 2, Ghostbusters 2, or Hot Shots, or whatever it may be, I mean, when you can do a sequel that's on the level or better than the original that it came from, I think that speaks volumes as compared to an action movie or a cop movie or a comic book movie or whatever.
I love Beverly Hills Cop 2 over the first one. Like, I could watch Beverly Hills Cop 2. Like, that's like I think also, and this is another question I'm going to pose later on, but Beverly Hills Cop 2 is a movie that I could like watch like over and over. You know what I mean? So it's definitely the better of even all 3 of the movies. And but yeah, that would be one of my sequels I'd have to go with. Dex, how about you? What do you got on the sequel list?
Halloween 2.
Which one? There's like 4 of them.
The Halloween 2, the second one that Rob Zombie did. When Rob Zombie did his Halloween 2, and a lot of people I think even would say that that's the better one too.
To be honest, I've never seen any of the Rob Zombie ones. I believe they are in the queue for Dexflix as of last Thursday, unless Zombie's down. So because that was actually like something I was doing last week, was like looking at sequels and stuff, and I'd never seen the Rob Zombie ones. I've seen the new ones that have come out, but that's I got to go back and make claim of those.
Yeah, it's been a while, but that was the one that popped in my head because I know a couple people say it, and I would agree. It's been a while. I do agree with it.
Rob Zombie Halloween 2 has one of the most brutal deaths I've ever seen.
Yes.
Just when he kills Octavia Spencer. Just holy shit.
So good. Yeah. But yeah, that's the one that popped out to me.
Spoiler alert, Bill, Octavia Spencer dies in Halloween 2.
Halloween 2, Judgment Day.
Now, on the flip side of that, let me ask you, what?
Wait, are we done with this one? Because I got a couple more.
No, I mean we can keep going. I just feel free to add. I feel like I need to. I got some things I just don't want to overlap. But go ahead.
Yeah, I have Captain America: Winter Soldier.
Fuck yeah.
I have Empire.
Okay.
I have Dark Knight.
Yeah, I think Dark Knight's kind of an easy one.
Yeah, probably. If you look at any list online, you'll probably find the same one. And then I have Dawn of the Planet of the Apes as well.
Oh yeah.
I don't think I said one.
The superior of the trilogy, I would definitely call that one.
Yeah, I think it goes Dawn, and then
I'll go Rise before that.
Well, wait,
I was very underwhelmed by War.
I think
very disappointed.
The problem with War is the fact that it has the word war in the title, and there's no war in the movie.
Exactly.
There's not even like a light skirmish. There's just kind of like there's a small scuffle.
A kerfuffle. The last 5 minutes of the movie.
Yeah, but there's no actual war, so I'm kind of like, okay.
It's just a dry hand job with no finish.
but the second one, which I think was the first one Michael Reeves did, was so good.
Matt Reeves.
Matt Reeves. Who did I say?
Michael. I don't know who Michael Reeves is.
I don't know who the fucking Michael Reeves is.
I was just saving you from the internet backlash that you're
Yeah, the first one Matt Reeves did.
The director was actually Matt Reeves, and he was directing Batman.
You're getting a punch.
Thank you. But that first Apes was damn good too, though.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, you know what? Here's one. Godzilla King of the Monsters was definitely better than the first iteration.
Oh yeah.
With Ryan Johnson.
I go because I like the first one. My thing with the second one was like I loved how we had so much more monster stuff in it, but like I didn't in the first one. I didn't care about the human stuff. In the second one, I really didn't care about the human stuff.
See, but then I liked when they went, through like the underground, like the mid-world, like vortex, and you're seeing all like the ancient civilization stuff going on. Like I wanted to see a full movie of that. Like give me more of that. That was cool.
When Ken Watanabe has his scene there at the end with in the middle there with Godzilla, that's the part that made me go, how come he wasn't the main character from the very beginning? Like I'm talking even in the first movie, like why haven't we just followed him studying these monsters? Because when he eats it there in that scene, I'm like, I actually don't care because I've spent so little time with this guy.
Let them fight.
he did have the best line out of both movies. Yeah. But the human stuff in Godzilla 2, I really didn't give a shit about. And it was so like the mom flip-flopping like 3-4 times on whose side she was on in the span of 5 minutes. And
well, look, at least you didn't get to see Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch like being boyfriend and girlfriend in this movie.
Yeah,
like
that's true.
The first one.
That was weird. Like, wait a minute, didn't they play Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver? Oh, they're doing it. Oh, this is weird. But no, King of the Monsters definitely had way better monster stuff going on.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to Kong versus King, Godzilla versus Kong, if it ever actually comes out. We'll see.
Bill, you fell asleep during Kong, didn't you?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
really?
I think we did. We got shirts for it.
Yeah, definitely. It's one of my like bedtime shirts. You know,
it's one of Sam's bedtime shirts.
Yeah. Well, she's got one and I got one.
I like Kong Skull Island.
It was all right.
It wasn't great, but it was better. It was better than.
I went back and watched it again like a couple weeks ago, and it's okay.
I'd rather watch that than play like Diddy Kong.
Let me throw a few more movies here, sequel wise. So I gotta say, Austin Powers 2, The Spy Who Shagged Me. I would. I
don't know. That's tough.
That's hard. That
first I gotta disagree.
Yeah, I'm out on that one.
That second one's got Fat Bastard though, man.
Yeah.
Back to the Future 2.
That's on the level.
It's on the level.
They're definitely more on the level than Back to the Future 3.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Marty.
It's like, oh, no.
What about John Wick 2?
Nah, it's just such a solid trilogy all around.
Yeah.
I can't.
All three of those are like just on par with each other. Like, what's the best one? Yes.
It's just one continuous 3-part movie. Is all
123. It is. That's the one that I like the best. 123.
What about D2 Mighty Ducks?
That one I'll give you. I'll actually give you that one. The D3 sucks.
D3 is still great. Come on.
Oh, I hate D3.
Nah, they're in the school.
I'll take it. Yeah, I'll take it. But
Eden Hall.
Yeah, I hated the new coach. I hated the new coach, and not just because he was a dick. I was just like, I have no reason to ever root for this guy. Like, at least Emilio Estevez had his own story, so I could root for him.
What? You didn't like the normal average guy that wasn't a drunk that had to be forced to deal with these kids?
Right.
Well, the way I saw it, the coach didn't care. Why should I?
It's a Disney movie. There needs to be tragedy.
That's right.
I also want to throw at you X2, X-Men.
That's I might agree with that one.
You got Brian Cox playing Stryker, which was great.
Yeah, I mean, that was a solid movie. I mean, when you look at it, at the whole franchise, looking back now, I mean, obviously it's like it was just so polluted basically that movie even kind of like sinks with the ship is the unfortunate conclusion. However, that movie, like, I think like when I'm scrolling through my library or Dex's library, and like I see like certain like collections and stuff like that, and when I think certain movies like stand out, like X2 came out at a time I feel like when like before the bubble even started, but like that started, getting the ball rolling with a lot of other projects and stuff.
Because
so,
X2 came out about the same time as Spider-Man 2.
and I was just going to
okay.
lead into, which you are perfectly queuing me up here, Mike. Thank you very much. Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man 2.
Yeah.
I mean, I think Spider-Man 2, X2, like as far as like superhero movies go, like that was like the catalyst. I feel like at the early 2000s, it's like the space race of fucking superhero movies. They might have any sequels that that shouldn't have been made.
Oh, there's a lot of that.
I got a few. I haven't given you my favorite sequels yet that I think are better.
Oh, go ahead, Mike. I'm sorry.
We didn't want to hear them anyway.
Yeah, I was gonna say 22 Jump Street.
Yeah,
I like 20. I love 21, but I love 22 a lot more.
That's the same jokes over and over again. That one.
If for nothing else, then just the Schmidt fuck the captain's daughter scene is fantastic.
I really couldn't remember any of those movies, to be honest with you. But very memorable.
Ace Ventura: When Nature Calls.
Okay.
Yeah.
The
Well, not better than the original.
I think so.
Oh no!
Really?
No.
I think I'm gonna give that to Mike. I think I found myself laughing much harder and more in that one than the first.
Nah, I just watched it again the other night too, and it's still gold.
I have the DVD 2-pack of both of those movies. It came in like a gold box.
And I got one more, and I just lost it. Let me see if I can find it again.
Caddyshack 2.
Terrible.
Absolutely not.
Independence
2.
Independence Day 2. Oh,
I said Shrek 2.
That was a good one.
I love the first Shrek, but Shrek 2 makes me laugh like an idiot every time I watch it.
Oh, Shrek. Come on, Shrek.
Come on.
The onions have laters.
Oh, and don't forget, Wrath of Khan. I mean,
that's where I was waiting for Bill. Come on, Bill. What the fuck? Figured that would have been first on your list. Nobody watches the motion picture.
Yeah,
I tried.
I got hit with a motion picture question during my my fan league match on Sunday, and I was like,
"Oh yeah, how did that go?" By the way,
spoilers. Not till Saturday, but I got hit with one of those, and I was like, no, I was like, okay, I wanted a challenge under the guise of nobody's actually watched these movies. Like, that's not fair. Nobody's watched the motion picture since it was released. Come on.
I saw it in theaters when it came back out last summer.
No.
What was the question?
Who played the bald chick? Who was
Princess Kamada.
Sure. Okay. Bless you.
There you go.
Nerd.
Gee.
Fucking phone a friend.
What's worse was I had to get that question wrong in front of Kevin Smets, who's the current Schmodown Geek Champion. I was like, of course.
Dum dum.
He wouldn't have known it either.
Crush
that crusher.
Mixtape Mike's in the hot seat here. He's in a little bit of hot water. He's gonna use a lifeline. Let's make a call.
Hey TNT, can you set us up with Jim?
Yeah, our good friends at AT&T are gonna connect with you.
This guy's bongos.
He's an animal. That's all I got.
That's all you got.
You guys took the rest of mine, so.
Yeah.
Well, because fucking Winter Soldier is it's still my favorite MCU film. I mean, I love that movie so much.
It's a top fiver for sure.
Yeah.
Well, let's as we venture through sequels here, I want to bring up any movies that have not received an additional sequel yet. I know Sean's probably going to know my movies that I'm going to bring up for this because I'm a little irate, and we didn't mention this one in that list, so I'll be curious to get into that. But looking at a couple of franchises that are one short for me on the trilogy piece is Tron and National Treasure. So I was a big Tron Legacy fan and big fan of National Treasure, and it's like those are like two franchises that I want one more movie out of at least. I don't need a whole string of movies, but seeing if you guys got any that you've been clamoring for a sequel.
I'm going to steal the light cycle. Yeah, I have a couple. One that I definitely know that maybe you might not have had on your list, Bill, that you might kick yourself for is Galaxy Quest.
Yes. Fuck
Get-
yeah.
But that's also like a great standalone movie, and it's maintained.
Well, if we can get a new Picard series going, why can't we get another Galaxy Quest? Make a one season spinoff. Go ahead. I dare you, do it.
I'll tell you, if you're
need
looking for Galaxy Quest, what I will say is there's a comic book series, and what's funny is it reads like they're actually on their adventures in space, and then randomly you'll see like cut, and it turns out it was just them filming the TV show. Sequences of them in the TV show are fully realized in the comic book, like the adventures are actually happening.
I like that.
That is cool.
What else? I had I Am Legend. I think that would have been a cool one to have a sequel for.
Well, it's part of the series, isn't it?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't have a retort for that.
Sean doesn't read.
Nah.
doesn't read.
An Inception sequel would be pretty cool. The one they've talked about doing, World War Z.
Yeah.
And I want to see more of the Ridley Scott Alien Prometheus world, so I want a sequel to Alien Covenant.
Yeah, that would be awesome. I am definitely on board there for an Alien sequel, for sure.
Well, you fell asleep during that one too. Remember?
Prometheus or Covenant?
It was pretty bad though.
We had a press screening in New York for it, and he fell asleep.
For Prometheus?
No, for Alien Covenant.
For Alien Covenant?
Yeah, well, yeah. To Bill's point, we were bar hopping through the city all day en route to the actual theater from where we got off the train station. So I can't blame him too much on falling asleep on that one.
We ripped like I don't know, probably like 5 shots in like an hour span, and then went into this movie. And
I'm just happy we found our way to the actual theater.
Yeah.
As strangers in a foreign land, we got there drunk.
Oh my god. We could have been human trafficked across state lines or something.
Yeah, we got smuggled through. We had to take like a pig truck. They dropped us off.
Stop, you're in Dayton, Ohio, and
it's Sandusky, Ohio. Yeah, those are the. I think those are the only ones that I have on my list. I mean, if I had more time to think, I definitely.
That's good right there. Yeah, I mean, I'd definitely be on board with seeing some more Alien stuff, but more in the vein of Prometheus, not so much. I guess like total like Alien side. I feel like Prometheus started its own. I don't know, its own derivative of those movies.
I wanted to see them actually, go to the planet and meet the engineers instead of showing up and David had killed them all and went on a tyrannical rampage. Which was, the original. I forget what it's supposed to be. Something off of like Dante's Inferno or something. Or Paradise, it was supposed to be called. The original concept for that movie was, Shaw and David wind up going to the engineer's homeworld after the events of Prometheus and, going on from there. I mean, they did that, but obviously, David had infected them all with the damn black goo. So you didn't really get to explore, the godlike creatures that supposedly created mankind, which is what I wanted to see in that movie. I still liked Alien Covenant for what it was, but it was a little let down, so I want to see if he can rebound and do the trilogy a good justice there.
Yeah, definitely. Dex, how about you, sir?
I got to go top off here.
All right, sir. I would like to see Acceptance 2.
Oh, the
That-
Justin Long one?
What?
Did you see it?
Accept
Acceptance or accepted, not acceptance.
Yeah.
Accepted.
Justin Long one, right?
Did you see I put that in the queue?
Yeah, you put it in the queue. I thought I had it. I love that movie. I've watched that movie
Dude,
30 times already.
So like a week ago, I was like, I had two movies like pop in my head that I was like, man, like, and you know, maybe this could be a discussion for another time, but like I feel like that's kind of like a coming of age movie. It's like, I don't know, maybe like, I feel like when you watch like those movies, like American Pie, Euro Trip, and stuff like that, they do relate to a certain time in life and stuff like that. But yeah, that was like a movie that I was like, what's like a real B comedy that's like funny, and I haven't like really seen in a while. So that and Idiocracy popped in my head. I was like, oh man, Idiocracy is a great movie. But yeah, I put them in the queue. So yeah, Accepted, man, that was a good movie, and I feel like that was like Blake Lively before she got like work done to her face.
Yeah, pretty
Yeah.
much.
That was one of her first big movies.
Yeah, she don't even look like her.
And then I'd like to see a Catch Me If You, or not Catch Me If You Can.
Dex wants another Transformers movie.
Yeah. I got them all in 4K now. I'm gonna watch them all.
Man, they stink.
That magic movie. What's it? Can You See Me? I think they're supposed to be working on the third one, but it's
Now You See Me?
Now You See Me, the Magicians. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like the first one a lot.
Yeah.
I like the first one better than the second one.
Yeah.
oh yeah, first was better, but they're supposed to come out with a third one, and I want to see if they can try and save it. I mean, it's probably gonna just go right off like all trilogies do, but I'd be curious to see a third one of those.
What about you, Mike?
So a couple of mine, you know, at this point a little too late, but like right off the bat, I was a big fan of the first Antonio Banderas Zorro movie, the Mask of Zorro.
Mhm.
The second one, not so much. But I always kind of hoped they would do one more and kind of right the ship with the third one. Now I would just like a new Zorro movie because I think it's a good character you can go back and revisit. I'm still waiting for my third
Gay Blade.
Still waiting on my third Robert Downey Jr. Sherlock Holmes movie. I need that to happen like
I would agree.
sooner rather than later. I had always hoped they'd get around to doing a third Addams Family with Raul Julia, but I mean, he passed away. Because
they could just render him in.
That's true.
Yeah.
Obviously they've never gotten around to making Boondock Saints 3. They kept trying and trying and trying.
Yeah.
Now Norman Reedus is pretty much locked in with Walking Dead because that show's never going to get fucking canceled. And
Look,
Sean
it sounds
Patrick
good.
Flannery
I
looks
like
like
it.
shit right now. I was a big fan of Role Models, and I thought it would have been cool to see a Role Models too, where they keep working with like a new group of kids with that organization that Jane Lynch runs.
Yeah.
Because like if they had done it now, you could have gotten like some of the kids from Good Boys.
Yeah.
Oh, that movie was great.
That movie was funny as shit.
I keep telling our text group to watch that, Bill. Watch that one.
I did not expect that movie to be nearly as funny as I thought it was going to be.
I just saw the little I forget what his name was in the movie, the black kid. I just saw him in another show. I think he popped up. My wife was watching like Last Man on Earth, I think, and he popped up in an episode. I
Oh,
saw.
really?
Yeah, he was freaking hysterical.
He's
Why
still.
you telling me I gotta watch the movie? I've already watched it.
You watched it?
I watched that show like when it first came out.
You didn't tell me about this.
You never asked.
Jeez.
I've only been
not-
talking
I
about
have
it
not
lately.
seen one text about, oh, you gotta watch that. You gotta watch
Go
it.
back.
I've already watched it, bro. Why don't you watch like one of the 7 movies I told you to watch?
What?
Watch-
Like
watch
WCW Monday Nitro, like 1997 that you requested?
Got his VCR out. That shit.
Bill just types in letters and looks for movies to watch. Anything that has the word air in it, he's seen.
Airbud.
Airborne.
Oh, that's a great
seen that.
movie.
I looked at Mystery Men too, by the way.
Yeah,
I was a little bummed that never got another shot.
the shoveler.
They're right. Iron Giant, I thought would have been good to get a sequel. Iron Giant was pretty good, but the other one, the last one for me is because the first movie is one of my favorite comedies of all time, and the sequel was fine, but I wanted to see a third try at Horrible Bosses.
I thought the second one was all right.
Like it was fine. Yeah. The first one had like this crazy amount of rewatchability for me. And I even to this day I can watch that movie every day and it still makes me laugh. I would love to see a third Horrible Bosses.
Now, let me ask you a side note question. Do you have trouble seeing Kevin Spacey do anything anymore?
It depends on what the movie is. Like, I tried going back and rewatching American Beauty the other day. Can't do it. It's just.
I don't think that's a movie I would really want to go back and watch again.
No, anyway. It's not. But now the scene of him trying to fuck a high schooler rings a little differently in my head. But like, I mean, him and Horrible Bosses, especially the first one, is so freaking funny.
What's the one he's in with Haley Joel Osment? No, not Kate Pack. Pay it forward.
Oh yeah,
he's really good in that.
Well, even in Superman Returns, which is not a good movie, he's a great Lex Luthor.
Yeah, because he's a scumbag.
He's a scumbag. He's in the beginning of
he kind of just played himself.
The scene at the beginning of Horrible Boss where he's like, "Oh, really? If I dip my balls in honey and shave coconut, would you do it too? You sure? Because I mean, I've got some coconut." We can do it.
Yeah, that's how I imagine him to be in real life.
He just looked at that roll and he was like, "Yep, I got it. Don't worry about it. It's cool.
Do this in my sleep." But yeah, those are the ones I got.
You know what's a movie that like I enjoy, but I wish got a sequel was Oblivion with Tom Cruise.
Man,
I never saw it actually. Never had seen that one.
Decent flick. You know, it's a one-off movie, but it was. I just thought it would have been cool to see some continuance there. Also, Interstellar. I know that's another one-off, but it would have been nice to see some more big space scenes like that as well.
Yeah, I want to take the human element out of that movie and do a cool space movie instead. Can we do cool space movies without having to fucking have a human tie down to like disrupt everything all the time?
Yeah,
that's the only way to
pisses me off.
Transformers movie at this point.
Nobody
gives a shit about that.
Right, like Godzilla. I don't give a shit about the humans. Just give me more Godzilla.
Yeah.
Right.
Smash.
Oh, is that Mothra?
That Mothra?
I'm getting bitten by mosquitoes, by the way.
What kind of DEET are you working with?
Not enough.
What's the DEET rating?
I can't even find the DEET rating.
Put it up to the camera.
Hold on, DEET. It's 25% DEET. That's not nearly enough. No. I need at least 85%. I want my skin melting off after I spray it on me.
I heard DEET can battle the coronavirus.
It probably can.
Yeah. You know what was funny? Here's just a sidebar conversation. And Sean, I wish I would have taken screenshots of this, but I was I'm in like one of the groups on Facebook. It's like a cars group or whatever, and I was scrolling through, and somebody was asking about how to clean the headlights. When they get fogged up, stuff like that. And this guy was so adamant about using a high concentrate DEET bug spray on he's like, get bug spray with the highest DEET content. He's like, I spray that on there, and he's like, I polish them off and stuff like that. They look brand new. And like the guy he was trying to tell it to was like, oh, all right, like I'll check that out. And he was like, no, don't check it out. Like just go buy it. He's like, I'm telling you, you don't need anything else other than DEET. And the guy's and then he starts like feeling like you could see it in the conversation. He felt like obligated. So he's like, oh, like what kind of DEET do I get? He's like, doesn't matter. Just get whatever has the highest DEET content. The higher the better DEET. And I was dying, I was like, oh my God.
Billy Mays here for DEET.
Shamwell.
Oh my God. Like that one time on the back porch there.
yeah, you need the DEET in these days.
We're gonna need some DEET for some of these movies because I want to know what movies you think have gone too far at this point in the game. Mike, let me start with you. Have you seen any of the John Wick movies?
Yeah, I've seen all of them.
All of them. We are aware that they plan to do 9 movies of John Wick. Have you heard that?
I hadn't heard that, but I'm all for it.
Yep.
Because that's one that so far, like, if they can continue to turn them out and it without, like, if I compare it to like Fast and the Furious, John Wick knows what it is and it's embracing what it is. It's not really trying to break from its formula. It knows, it just does what it knows. It goes A to B to C.
Right.
Fast and the Furious tries to make itself out to be more than what it is, and so it always tries to top itself with the next one. And we've heard the jokes at this point. At this point, they just need to go to space because that's pretty much all they haven't done.
No, Jason went to space.
Exactly. Jason went to. Oh, well, then again, that would be
Leprechaun went to space too. After going to the hood.
For me, as long as they continue to be good, go nuts. But it's when they start getting into the realm of Fast and the Furious. Now, granted, I'm not a car guy, so I haven't liked any of the Fast and the Furious movies. They just don't do anything for me. That's a matter of personal taste. I know everyone says like, oh, when they get to the 5th one, it gets good. I don't care. Kiss my ass. But you know,
I'm not wasting 4 movies worth of time.
Exactly. Yeah. No. Fuck that. So yeah, if they want to do 9, you know what? That's fine as long as they hold to what they're doing. They do it. They know works. You know, it's fine to be a little formulaic if the formula is a good formula. Fast and the Furious tries to one up their own formula every movie. And, you know, when Paul Walker died, to me, it was like, okay, cool, be done. But now we get to this Hobbs and Shaw fighting Idris Elba, who's basically a god. I mean, he calls himself Superman in the movie, and it's to the point where it's just, yeah, it's too much. Yeah, no, I'm good. But yeah, if they want to do 9 John Wicks, go nuts. I'm for it.
I can relate. You know, the one defense I'll give Fast and the Furious is
they all make $1 billion.
Well, at this point, like, it is exactly like what you said, Mike. It is outlandish. They do try to like one up every other movie, and it's like it's almost a joke in itself at this point. How far they keep taking this train, that like I'm just sold at this point because I want to just like I guess like I'm a you know like I'm just a victim for torture here, but it's like I just want to see a mediocre Fast and Furious movie. Like, yeah, take it to space. Let's just keep this thing going. Like, I have no expectations of it. I know what it's going to deliver, and it's like it's just a guilty pleasure for me at this point. Like just to watch like some shit movie that I know what the outcome already is, and it's just, you know, it's a little mindless, but you know, I can take that in contrast at the same time.
Just rewatch the pod racing scene from episode 1 again. That's what you
That's
get.
even worse, I think. I would put that lower than Fast and Furious. But I mean, in contrast to John Wick, I mean, they both serve, you know, their purpose and their audience. So, what about Dex? How about you?
I was going to say the same thing because we talked about this the other night, me and Sean. Fast and the Furious, Transformers, they're in that set of movies where it's good enough where if I need to, after a long day, sit down, shut up, and have something completely mindless, like you said, mindless. Yeah. I don't need to think about it. I don't need to. It's okay enough where I can sit there. I can have a conversation with my wife. It's a good, just mindless, lost, don't need to think or anything about it. Fast and Furious fits in that, and Transformers fits in that. Agreed. And the John Wick movies, like Mike said, there's enough in the first 3 movies. We've seen enough where they hint at all these different backstories and bosses and stuff like that they can continue to go for 9 movies easily and just pick and show little bits and pieces of this universe that they've built. So I'm 100% for more John Wicks.
They were talking at one point about doing like a streaming series called The Continental.
Yeah.
It's going to be like an anthology series of shit that goes down with people who are in and out of that hotel. I want that.
Yeah.
Now.
Because
we had talked about it on the Cinescape podcast when we were still doing that show. So I mean that was in the works years ago.
Because like you said, it's a hotel with how many floors we saw in the different ones, and it's like just one episode would be just a different writer create some kind of character that comes in, has a small short story, and be done with it in a 45-minute episode. It'd be perfect. Just stick to that formula, like you said.
That's kind of what I thought when I went and saw the movie Hotel Artemis. The way it was kind of described to me, I thought it was going to be something kind of similar to that, and it kind of is. It's kind of not, but I would have thought that would have been a cool kind of like a cross universe thing they could have tied in. Like once you see Hotel Artemis and it's set so far in the future, it's like that could have been like the future of the Continental or something. I don't know. The Transformers ones to me eventually get to the point where they're so mind numbing where they're just dumb. Like I think the first 3 are good popcorn in your face movies, but once you get past 3, like 4 and 5 are just off. Bumblebee's fine, but 4 and 5 are just.
I watched that one. I just got that.
I don't think I even made it through 3.
I think
I've ever finished it.
I think 3 is I think for me it goes 1, 3, then 2. I think 2 is absolute garbage, but 3, the last 45 minutes of 3 are pretty good because it's just robots fighting and destroying Chicago.
Yeah,
and so that part is like almost worth the beginning hour and a half. That's garbage because the last 45 minutes of 3 are what we've been wanting to see the whole series, which is just robots fighting, and that's it. That's all I need.
Well, let me ask you this. I know it wasn't on the list here, but do any of you know a third installment movie that you would say is better than the original? I know we discussed direct sequels, but I mean, I'm thinking I would have to say Return of the Jedi right off the top of my head.
Return of the King.
What?
Return of the King. Lord
I would
of the
also
Rings.
say Indiana Jones, Last Crusade, and Die Hard with a Vengeance. Just off the top of my head. I don't know about any of you guys.
I don't know. I think I would need to really have some time to think about that one.
How to Train Your Dragon 3 was pretty fucking good.
Yeah,
About Fast and Furious 3.
Well, I mean, there could be really hardcore fans of like Army of Darkness that are more fans of that than Evil Dead. I think that'd be a viable option.
You know, I'm surprised Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs never got a part 3. Part 1 and 2 were decent, right? For being family movies.
I don't think I ever saw any of them.
They're pretty funny. Bill Hader's pretty funny in that movie. Also, Mr. T as the cop is kind of the funniest shit ever. that cop is like worth watching the movie for alone.
What about the regular Meatballs 3?
Meatballs 3?
Yeah, just Meatballs 3.
Meatballs 3. What about Alien 3, guys?
Wasn't that the one with the alien?
That's Mac and Me.
No. You ever watch Meatballs?
Jackass Part 3.
Sure. Why not?
How about
What about Rambo 3?
Nah, the first one's pretty badass. First Blood.
Last Blood was pretty fucking awesome though. I don't know if you guys saw Last Blood. I liked that.
I haven't seen it.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
Yeah.
Let me throw out my too many sequels. I mean, obviously, X-Men under its incarnation as we knew it is done, but there's a prime candidate where they just did whatever they wanted and it was terrible.
Talk about a franchise that just went like down, man.
Just all over the place. Paranormal Activity. I mean, it's the same movie over and over again, really.
Yeah.
I have Die Hard on there as a franchise. I mean, the last couple, did you really need? Really, after Scream, did you really need any more Scream movies? Scream 2, maybe, but the rest of them are pretty schlocky. I'm not a Harry Potter guy, so I threw it on there. I'm going to piss some people off there, but I really don't give a shit.
Only make the first 3 books into movies. The rest of them can fuck.
All right, yeah, the other 18 doesn't really count. Lethal Weapon as a franchise, got a little long in the tooth. I verbatim wrote pretty much every horror franchise. Just a blanket statement. Yeah, I'm good. Dream Warriors is cool, but yeah. And then I have Hellboy, the Triple X franchise, anything after Ninja Turtles 2 from 1990. 2, and then Dumb and Dumber as a franchise. And any Dumb and Dumber sequel after Dumb and Dumber.
Or prequel. Prequels suck.
You can call it whatever you want. It was terrible.
No, what the fuck?
Except the Bob Saget scene with the shit all over the walls. That was great.
I'm gonna come back with you a little bit on Hellboy. Hellboy 2 was pretty damn good.
Bill, tell me about your favorite actor in the world, Ron Perlman. Tell Mike how much you love Ron Perlman.
Oh, shit.
Cinescape podcast fans will enjoy
in addition to another actor that he mentioned earlier that I love so much as well.
Norman Reedus?
Norman Reedus, yeah. Him and Ron Perlman can hang out back behind that wall like a couple of crumb bums. If there's two actors that I just don't get, I don't like them, are those two actors.
Now, are they just because you just hate their general disposition? Are they hate the face guys? What is the deep rooted cause of your disdain for these people?
Right off the bat,
I got a lot of problems with you people, and you're all going to hear about it. It's the airing of the grievances. We did this on the Cinescape before.
Look at Norman Reedus. Norman Reedus has got the same
grimy, scummy look, unkempt, dirty, grimy, grody, fucking. Hi, my name is Bill Tozzi. I've known you for a couple of years, Bill.
And then Ron Perlman, just a fucking.
Is it because he has a giant head? Do you think? He's got a giant cinder block head, man.
It's odd. It's oblong. When you look at him in Blade,
it's oblong.
Blade 2. Look at him in Blade 2. He's got that chin strap that goes up and then around the back of his head and shit.
All right, who's the worst vampire in the Blade franchise? Ron Perlman or Triple H?
Triple H.
Triple H. Terrible.
Well, we're getting near the hour, guys, and I'm going to pose you one last
I'll do this all night.
I know.
I'm getting drunk.
Before I open up the discussion to anybody else here.
We need an after show.
Let me ask you guys.
We're doing an impromptu episode of the Basement Lounge.
Well, I hit Mike up for an invite to talk music, and he just never returns my
Hasn't
call.
happened yet. Sorry, buddy.
Remember, Bill goes first, or Sean goes first.
What do you got for us, Bill?
He doesn't even care anymore. Fuck you guys. Going home.
He just wanted to be on the show, man.
I don't need to be here because you guys got it covered.
Bill's
He did his face.
Fuck it! What else we got? Best disaster movies. This is gold.
Shit.
He's gonna do the gold dust entrance coming back. Bill, you with us?
I'm here.
You gotta end the show here, Bill. We gotta do an after show of some sorts. This is great.
I was gonna keep going, but
let's keep going.
Yeah.
So I was gonna ask you what with quarantine going on, you guys, I don't know how much you've been watching, but just to kind of gauge where if you guys have noticed any movies that you have been rewatching over and over, or just any movies that are your typical throwback. What takes you back every time? What's a movie that's got great rewatchability for you?
One that I would throw out there that I just got my wife to watch for the first time was Shawshank.
Ooh.
She had never seen it, and we've been on a Stephen King kick as of late. With different movies and shows that are based on King works. She really, really liked it, and I'm like, see, I've been telling you this whole time. Shawshank. Even if you're just flipping through the channels on a Saturday, Sunday afternoon, whatever it might be on TNT, usually you'll find Shawshank on at some point, and you just can't change the channel while it's on. It's just instant. You're glued to it right away, and you're just going to watch it to the end from wherever you picked it up at.
I mentioned earlier, Horrible Bosses is one that I can rewatch anytime because it's so relatable and it's so funny. I mean, those three guys, Jason Bateman, Jason Sudeikis, and Charlie Day, have amazing chemistry in that movie. I've mostly been going back and rewatching like older franchises, like from the 80s. Like I just finished rewatching all the Alien movies. Now I'm starting on Back to the Future, so I've been going back and just kind of revisiting stuff that like I know I love, I just haven't seen in a long time.
Can we talk about how great and underrated Jason Bateman is, by the way?
Have you seen Ozark? Holy shit!
Oh my god, yeah. Everything I've ever seen him in, he's absolutely phenomenal. He's a real chameleon with being super charming and lighthearted, and then he can play like that dark, and he can play the comedic. He really has it all.
Nobody plays the straight man in a comedy quite like Jason Bateman does.
Nah, he does it pretty perfectly.
Yeah, Dex, what do you got, man?
Does that nervous look? Play stuff. I just rewatched it the other day. Happy Gilmore. That's always
yeah. That's on my list too.
Definitely one you just hopped on. Sometimes I like putting on some of the original Jeff Dunham specials too.
I'm not a Jeff Dunham fan.
That and Pablo Francisco, his first comedy special. We call it Pablo laughing. My wife laughed so hard when we first got together, and she never seen it. I'm like, I got to put it on, and we put it on. And my uncle, who's a truck driver, happened to be sleeping at our house with his boss, and they're sleeping in the living room, and my bedroom was like right over here. It was the converted garage. We started laughing so hard, we woke up them. We woke up my parents on the other side of the house. So anytime we start laughing and it's any kind of hard laughing, it's called Pablo laughing. That's one that I could watch constantly too.
Dude, that first Pablo Francisco special is
Splash.
Bill,
motherfucker.
Bill, what's the best stand-up special that you've seen lately?
Probably have to be Chappelle.
Yeah. Because like him and like Bill Burrs, they came out around the same time, if I remember.
Bill Burrs was
those two. I mean, Chappelle had two that came out within like a year of each other. Didn't
he dropped two at a time, doesn't he?
Yeah, I think he had two.
Well,
but like, I think it was his, like Bill Burrs, and then Chappelle's second one, I think, came out at the same time. But yeah, I mean, they're both great. Like
Chappelle put out two at one time, and then he had another one follow up like a year later, and mean, they're all pretty fire. I mean, like they all just absolutely destroy.
Yeah.
Now, like
Murphy wants to come back and do a new one.
Like Bill, you were saying earlier, you brought up that Mike does stand up. Now, you obviously, well, maybe not obviously, if we haven't really talked about it, but you yourself have previously done stand up comedy. So, looking at either Netflix specials, stand up specials, or maybe actors that have transitioned from like stand up into movies, like who are some of your personal inspirations for why you wanted to, get up on stage at open mics and, pursue the field?
I mean, comedians that I watched, I mean, going back a ways, I mean, I'd have to say like Dangerfield, Kinnison, Dave Attell, Patton Oswalt, I mean, Chappelle, obviously, and then like Dana Carvey. I mean, like there's, obviously like, I think great acts that, stick with you. And then certainly there's those guys that just are natural performers. I mean, like obviously you could go back at any point and turn on like Eddie Murphy and watch Raw, and like it's just going to be a ride and stuff like that. So I think more so than just the comedian, you remember like certain acts as a comedian. I think Mike, you would probably agree that like when you're at the club and stuff like that, the people, the comedians, but like the act more than the person, and that sticks with you. So
yeah,
when it's a good act, you can watch that over and over again because open mics are the hardest thing for stand-up comedians because most of your audience is the comedians, and week to week, it's like you're having to impress the people that have heard your act the most. So it's definitely rewarding when you make one of those other guys laugh, or you get some kind of pat on the back or something like that.
It's like kind of like you're in.
Yeah, you're in because it cuts through. It's like no matter what, like that's funny.
Now, Bill, you and Mike, obviously are more, and probably more so Mike because he's still currently doing it, like more versed in the way the backstage scene and how the whole show runs from that aspect. Now, like somebody like myself, or I don't know if Dex, have you ever been to live comedy shows?
Mm-hmm.
I've had a very limited experience, but I used to go with Bill to shows he would do, and I would kind of see like after a couple times seeing the same guys getting up and trying the same material, and like Bill had pointed out different people to look out for specifically, like Bill, like the guy Goat. Like, all right, this guy's gonna get up and he's gonna say like all this like really like grimy shit. Like, get ready for it. It's just like really vulgar. He's belligerent, and that's how the whole shtick goes. But just like, what's your perspective? I guess to both of you two, like, what's your perspective on like the transition from somebody who strictly came up from stand-up into moving into like a film or a television role, as like a featured actor? Like, do you think it's more difficult to do just because you don't have the acting experience, or do you think you have more of a leg up because you don't actually need that because you're gonna shine through with what you're actually good at?
I think with that question, I mean, I think if you're asking like if a comedian like breaks into acting and stuff like that, having already established his comedic part, right?
Right.
Yeah. So I mean, like I think the comedian, even though it might be unknown, has a little bit more room to stand because they're used to having to walk through the mud a little bit and deal with those low points on stage a lot more. So they're probably going to be a lot more resilient rather than somebody who's already in acting and then try to make that transition, vice versa. It's a whole different animal. So I think, you'd have more preparation. I think that's why you also see more comedians that do shift into acting. They either don't stay there too long because they know that world is also going to make them unfunny at the same time, because you then get wrapped up into that Hollywood life and you become a phony, and everything that made you successful on that small stage is going to be gone, because then you have no perspective. You don't see the black and the white and some of that gray in between anymore. It's just one side. It's just Hollywood. So I think it, coming up from a comedic rank is definitely more grounding in experience.
I think one of the ways that doing stand-up helps is it kind of helps you be a little fearless. Doing when you're shooting a movie, when you're on a set, most actors, they have one bad moment or they do a take that they're just not happy with, and a lot of times it'll bring them down and they have to try and shake that off and work through it. Comedians are so used to bouncing back from that off moment, because that's how we recover an audience when if a joke just doesn't land, or we fumble the words or forget a punchline. Bouncing back from that moment is something that after a number of years you learn how to do better and better, so that when the comedian's on set and they have that moment in a take where it doesn't go quite well, they can bounce back from it, and it kind of like what Bill was saying, it makes them a bit more resilient. It kind of makes them a bit more immune to the after effects of that. And going off what Bill was saying, as far as, you know, the ones who stay acting so long and they kind of lose the comedic chops, that's why I find that like some of the comedians who transition to acting who continue to stay funny are the ones who really limit themselves to the movies they do. They don't sign on to a gazillion movies. They do the one, they do one or maybe two, but they still focus on stand-up as primary thing. If anything, the movies are there to pay for the stand-up. You know, they get that check. They get that check from doing a movie, and then that's what pays for them to go back on the road. You know, most comedians don't necessarily want the movies. They more or less want the TV pilots. You know, they want the TV show pilots, and they want the stuff where they have a bit more creativity and a bit more freedom to kind of do their own thing, as opposed to in a movie where there's so many moving parts. And comedians love control. We love having control of the situation when we're on stage, because that's our time. And when you're in a movie set, you're so out of control of everything going on around you that it can be a little overwhelming.
Who's somebody in Hollywood right now that, you know, came up in stand-up, do you think, that kind of, whether you want to call it like, you know, they sold out or kind of like lost their way with their comedic chops, who's more strictly into, you know, using movies as a way to propel their fame instead of, you know, working their craft?
A couple of years ago, I would have said Amy Schumer, but she hasn't done anything in a while. So
yeah, she kind of fizzled out there. I would put Kevin Hart up there for sure.
Yeah, kind of. I want to see him do another special before I
don't find him funny at all.
See, I love him in Jumanji.
I think the problem that I have with him is that, like, some of his stand-ups are really funny, and, you know, some of his movies are really funny. But I feel like the Kevin Hart, the actor, and Kevin Hart, the comedian, are kind of both hitting that same precipice where it's like they're the same person.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't like that, because I, like, for the very reason that we're discussing, like, I want those two distinct people. Like, I want to see somebody different on a stage, you know, performing stand-up versus the movies that I see him in. And I feel like I'm starting to just see the brand of Kevin Hart. And
yeah,
I think it's getting diluted.
Yeah, Kevin Hart, whether he's on stage, in a movie, in an interview, whatever, he's always just at the same setting.
Yeah,
and it's almost starting to feel like a shtick, and he's just becoming the shtick. And kind of like how Larry the Cable Guy was for a long time. It wasn't until probably the last few years where he kind of got past that. But for the longest time, I mean, Larry the Cable Guy was just a character that he created, and then suddenly he just kind of became that character.
Yeah, his name's Dan.
Exactly. And if you've ever seen his old stand-up videos from before he became Larry the Cable Guy, he was doing the same jokes, and they were still fucking funny.
Yeah,
he just took the character a little. Bill's not loving the Larry talk.
Sidebar, Bill, when we did a Philly Podfest, like last year, the year before, when we were giving away DVDs and stuff as prizes. Right. Didn't I gave away like the Blue Collar Comedy Tour Rides Again, like on DVD. That was one of them.
It was open.
That was funny.
I just took a bunch of shit off his shelf and like, all right, let's give away prizes for this stuff. Here you go.
I'll tell you, somebody who is surprisingly, I think, a better actor than a comedian is Dane Cook. If you've ever seen, he's done
Employee of the Month.
Yeah, Employee of the Month.
No, he did like an indie flick last year. He played like this like recovering alcoholic dad to this like college kid, and he was really good in it. Or you've seen Mr. Brooks.
I was just gonna bring up Mr. Brooks.
Yeah, like granted, like Dane Cook was the hot shit when I was first coming up. So of course, you know, like when people say,
I thought he was hysterical.
Yeah, we all did, and
Retaliation was a great record, man.
Yeah, Retaliation and Harmful If Swallowed were amazing comedy albums. You know, and I still remember when he did a special called Isolated Incident, where it was just him. This was after he had done all the big like Madison Square Garden shows. and it was just him like at the Comedy Store, just going back to doing regular old school stand-up. I'm like, see, this is the kind of shit that if he had just stuck with this, he wouldn't have become a meme, But he's actually he doesn't do a lot of acting, but the movies he has done, again, like Mr. Brooks, and I got to find the name of that other movie, but he's actually a very good actor. And I think that he also had a small role in Mystery Men. Yeah, he's one that I think actually, if he did the full transition over to acting, I think he'd probably find himself kind of going through a bit of a career renaissance. Yeah. But that's just me. What the fuck do I know?
I'm going to open it up to you guys if you have anything else that you want to discuss. Otherwise, we can start to wrap up the show here, gentlemen.
I'd just like to say, a show like we've done here tonight has been so much more refreshing and fun to do. Obviously everybody loves movies, so we got to talk about something that's fun for people. Obviously entertainment is a distraction from the real world, and that's kind of what we really need right now. So like Mike, when I was on your show the other day, we got to talk about movies, and we're talking about movies here tonight. So I'm very happy to have a more jovial conversation. So it's been a lot of fun. So thank you all. It's obviously everybody is going through their own stuff right now, being quarantined and secluded. So we're all dealing with things. So hopefully if you're out there listening or watching at home, we brought you a little bit of joy for the past hour or so. So thank you all for listening and watching, and thank you guys for being here every week doing this cool show.
Joy down in
happy joy
down in our heart.
Everything is awesome.
Well, as we
yes.
As we begin to break it down to some Bobby Brown here, I guess. What was that, Mike? What'd you have queued up there?
I'm just scrolling through some stuff. I got nothing really. I was looking at Google News thing, see if we had anything, but
Google News.
China news.
Well, Mike, why don't you kick off the wrap up party here and tell us where the fine folks out in Media Land can find you.
You guys can find me on Mondays as the host of Mixtape Radio. I didn't do one this week because Memorial Day and B, I had a big one lined up. And it's probably gonna get pushed back to next week, but more information on that later. But check me out on Twitter and Instagram at Mixtape Radio Pod and at Mike Shea Comedy on all the stuff.
Sean Harrigan.
If you want to friend me and argue with me about stuff on Facebook, you can just look for me. Other than that, you can find me hopefully hosting another episode of the Eagles Nest podcast soon, everywhere online at the Eagles Nest. Other than that, cool.
Unless Google censors you and takes you down.
They kicked me off last show, so
And
thanks for finishing that out for me, by the way.
Dex, how about you, man?
As always, check it out, the Suburban Paranormal Podcast. We're going to got a lot of stuff going on. It's been doing very well. Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. Always, you guys want to talk conspiracy theories, anything paranormal, definitely find me. Twitter, though, is SUBURBNPARANRML. Thanks, Twitter, for that. But find me and let's talk.
And Pat, I'll take RSTLNE for the.
You hit the daily double.
Daily dizzle. Well, Dex, Sean, Mike, I want to thank you guys for joining us here on Mike's of the Round Table. You can see me scattered throughout the Cinescape Media Network here. So, for all the guys here, we want to thank you for joining us. And we will see you all very soon.
Later.
What happened?
Sean already censored himself.
I'm out.
Nice.